Welcome back to my channel. Dave Law here from Get Some Colour in Your Life. Before we get started, if you're new to this channel, if this has come up on your feed and you're watching this for the first time, if you give us a like, and if you like what you see, then you could also subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and it will notify you whenever I have any new content. So this is a scene. This is actually sort of a back street from Edinburgh. Quite a nice scene. I've had this photo for a while and I just wanted to try this in watercolour. And some of my scenes I like to do townscapes, quite busy, sort of detailed paintings in a loose sort of manner. And this one I'm doing just a section of the photo. You can see where I've popped the masking fluid around the windows. You can see that sort of off-white colour. So I'm not going to be messing around with details in the windows. Using my ceramic palette, which is quite nice to clean. You can see how easy the colour and the pigments coming off that. So I'm just using a wet wipe on the palette. And the paper I'm using is Bockingford rough. So it's got a nice texture to the paper, and that will come in handy when I'm doing some of the sort of the brickwork, some of the details. Just gives a nice texture if you're using a drier brush technique. So just going in with a first wash, just covering. I'm not covering all of the paper. I wanted to leave quite a bit of the white of the paper, especially in the lower part of the painting. So I want the paper, I want the paint to sort of run down and give that loose sort of style. And so that's why I've not come all the way down. And there's a nice little detail in the scene of this stairway. And there's a nice little balcony at the top. So I wanted to get that in, and it's quite a dark part of the scene, so that'll add a nice interest in contrast with the buildings. And there's also a nice couple of trees coming in at the top left and right of the painting. So I wanted to get that in as well. I'm using my mop brushes. I have a couple of mop brushes, 2 or 3. And the brush that you see I'm using here is the it's the Isobay, and it's a size 2-0. I'm going to be using my Da Vinci size 5, just for the smaller sort of finer details. But it's not a painting that I want to sort of be exact with. I want to just have fun. It's a nice loose impression of the scene. So the actual image, if you look at the image, it's quite a complicated scene. But I just wanted to show you how to simplify, how you could go about simplifying a complicated scene. And I find when I paint, I think the more complicated the scene, the more complex, it's almost the looser I paint the scene. So I'm just lifting some colour just with some blotting paper, just dabbing out some colour. If it's too strong, you can always lift from the paper, and then just adding some more leaves and twigs to the scene coming in from the right hand side, and then also just some more leaves and twigs coming in from the left. If you do have any comments, then please leave any comments, any suggestions, anything you'd like to see in future videos. I do post videos each and every week, twice or maybe 3 times in a week. So if you are new and it's something that you want to learn, if you want to improve in your watercolour, then please subscribe. I have many different videos on my channel, different techniques, different skills. I'm still learning myself, so I've been painting for, well, since I was 16, so it's quite a number of years, and I've been painting on and off, but it's something that I've done more over the last few years. It's something I've painted more and more, so I'm just learning as I go as well. So there's a few nice details. I'm just adding some darks. So I'm going for that nice contrast, different tones. Just adding some dark. This is quite a dark part of the scene, so I'm just adding in another layer of darker colour, mix of raw sienna, bit of yellow ochre and some French ultramarine. So I'm just coming down the paper with that mix, and then just a few drain pipes and a bit of work on the roof, and just some details on the outside windows. So I'm just using my brush quite loosely. I think you just got to be confident with a brush. Just every brush mark sort of counts. You just don't be afraid to put down the pigment. Whatever happens, happens. And like I said, if a full scene, a full sort of painting scares you, then maybe you could do just a section, a window, a doorway, anything in the scene. If you just concentrate on that one part of the scene, and that can sometimes help. It really is just trial and error with watercolours. I know a lot of people find it quite unforgiving, but I think the more you learn, the more sort of the more you learn that you can actually correct your mistakes. You can lift, you can take paint out where you've made mistakes or anything like that, but just go along with it. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can see I'm just spraying just a bit more water and get some more movement on the pigments. You can see it's spread the paint quite nicely, and that's the sort of effect I wanted for this painting itself. Just a bit more spray, and that just keeps the pigment nice and wet, so you can work with that. If you want to do a wet in wet technique, or you just need the colour to stay wetter for longer, then that spray is quite handy to use. So I'm just adding in some more. I'm using the liner brush now, as you can see, and there's a nice plant on the window of the upstairs window, so I'm just adding that into the painting. And just add in some more of that dark, thicker consistency of paint. So that's what you got to remember in watercolor. If you're using your second wash and your first wash isn't quite dry, then the second wash is normally a bit thicker, a bit more paint to water, and then you don't have those unwanted cauliflowers or backwashes. So that's what I've done here. It's quite a thick mix now. As I'm going in the darker tones, I've got more pigment, so it's more stronger, more saturated sort of look, and that's really what you want. If you've got anything in the distance, in a landscape or in a painting, you want that quite light, quite loose. And then when you come forward, so the closer you get, then you can add more pigment to the, or more colour, and make it just a bit more punchy in colour. And then you get the nice contrast as well. So if you stay watching, you'll see what happens once I start taking the masking fluid off. It'll be quite a nice thing to see. Just got a couple more darks to add, like the bottom of the windowsills. There's a little shadow just running underneath there. So just adding those in. And I'm just using the side of the brush, if you've noticed. This is quite dry, the brush. So as I come down the paper, with it being rough paper, it's leaving that nice texture, which is quite nice. If you're doing buildings in your painting, then you can use the dry brush effect. Also, it's nice if you're painting water or anything like that, any sparkles. And before I remove the masking fluid, I just wanted to make sure that everything was quite dry, because I'll be removing it with my finger. So I'm just rubbing basically where the masking fluid is. You can see I'm just rubbing that masking fluid off, so it comes off as a rubber, sort of rubber. And that's another window. So it's quite nice because it's left the white of the paper, and that's what I wanted to get. I didn't want to mess around. You can either use opaque paint or white ink or anything like that. I've got a gel pen ink that's quite nice for white sort of windows and things like that. But I just wanted to do masking fluid in this video just to show you how to use that. So you can see I've took the masking fluid off quite nicely, not a problem. And you've got those nice white windows, white window panes, adds quite a nice effect. And I've just got to sign this painting, something that I usually do forget, I don't know why. I'm just going to pop my signature in the bottom, and then it's just taking off the masking tape as well. And that's a finished painting. Don't forget to let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, give us a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, then please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in the next video real soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.